Year 2024 was an interesting year for me. It was the year when I learned to redefine myself and also to do the things that I've been meaning to do. Some of us, we know so much, but we're not using them. We're not acting on them. 2024 taught me that I can be anything. I can do anything. I can raise my current quality of life from 1 to 10. One of the defining moments was when I read a particular book that was recommended by one person that I really admire. Her name is Didi K. So for those that don't know her, she is a mindset coach amongst so many other things. The name of the book is Mindset: The New Psychology of Success. There are so many things I learned from that book, but 3 things stood out for me. The first thing is that my personality type has limited me in certain areas of my life. And I know that this is the case for so many other people. You know how some years back there was the noise about you have to know your personality type because it will help you in your relationship. It will help you in how you see yourself, in self-awareness. It will help you in your business. It will help you in relationship and all of those things. And of course, yes, it is true. The first step into self-mastery is self-awareness. So when I took that personality test, it said I was a melancholic person. Melancholic people, most times they're loyal people. They keep their friends. They go all out for friends and family. But the other part, which is a weakness, one of the weaknesses of a melancholic person is mood change. And I realized that for the longest period of my life, I realized that I switch mood easily. Sometimes I can be very happy this moment, and then the other moment I can be very sad. And I think that it kind of affected the way that I view my life. So sometimes I'm motivated to do something, and I just give an excuse that it's be part of my mood change. And I think that that's a problem for some. Some people believe that their personality type is who they are. It was not meant to put us in a box, but actually that is what it has done. So in that book, there are 2 types of mindset: the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. So the fixed mindset simply believe that we are born with a natural ability. So just like personality, we have a particular personality. But newsflash, some of the personality type that we have, it was beaten into us. We were flogged into that melancholic attitude. We were trained to be quiet, to be loyal. We were trained that way. So we accepted that personality type based on what has influenced, our growing up. And we realized that sometimes if you put another person in another environment and then they begin to behave in another way, you think that, this person maybe has come to discover another side of their life that they didn't know existed because of the particular situation in which they were. So now that they've been exposed to another condition, they are now, exhibiting another kind of personality, I would say. That's what the fixed mindset is. The fixed mindset believes that there is no point putting effort into something because if you are born with it, you're born with it. That is not entirely true. There is always a place to learn and to grow. A fixed mindset usually is resistant to feedback. Fixed mindset person doesn't really ask for people's opinion in what they are doing because they just feel like, I think I know it, I've got it. But that's not the right kind of mindset to have. I had fixed mindset about some things and I needed to change it quickly. For example, while I was growing up, I always believed that I was a career person. I always believed that the only thing that I can ever do right is to be in the corporate world because number one, I wasn't industrious like my sister was. I didn't always really pay attention to business. I found myself actually now loving what I'm doing because I realized that I can do much more. I can be much more. I never thought that I would be an entrepreneur. So when I started, I had to learn. I had to ask questions. I had to follow people online. I had to read about starting a business. I had to learn some skills. So sometimes what we have known about ourselves, especially when we did our personality type, can hinder us because we believe that we can't grow more than that. And can I shock you that if you've got an idea here, it means that God has given you permission to help him dream. So let me rephrase that this way. God has put his dream on the inside of you. So God already qualified you for you to run with it. Some of us, we just believe that certain jobs are not meant for me because this is my personality type. And I know that in leadership training, they say this kind of things, and you have to know your personality type so that but you can walk towards a leadership style, a personality style that you like, a skill that you love, an attribute, a character. There are strategies that you can put in place that can help you to succeed in whatever you're trying to achieve. When next anybody gives you that excuse of, oh, I don't know how to keep friends, it's really because they don't want to try, or they haven't come in contact with this truth that they've got a fixed mindset. What we need to do is to shift from that fixed mindset into the growth mindset, that we can actually be whatever we want to be. It just takes our determination. And that is where the growth mindset comes in. The growth mindset believes that people can develop into becoming the best version of themselves. The growth mindset sees effort as a key element into becoming a better person, reaching success or reaching the heights that you want to reach, for instance. The growth mindset accepts criticism, accepts feedback. They're happy to receive feedback. And the second thing that I learned is that you can learn virtually anything and everything from YouTube or from the internet. There are free courses that you can get. There are paid courses that you can get. There are some certifications that you can achieve. It depends on where you are, what you can afford, what you have. I remember the story of Ben Carson. I read Gifted Hands when I was in secondary school, and it really motivated me. I read that book and I felt like I could do anything. I felt like if God is with me and I can put in the work, I can do anything. So for those that don't know the Ben Carson story, so Ben Carson is a renowned neurosurgeon. He was the first person to separate a conjoined twin. But before he became this renowned person that we all know, when he was young, Ben Carson was termed the dumbest kid in class. And there's a movie about it on Netflix that you can watch. Actually paints that Ben Carson went back home to his mom and cried and said that he's the dumbest kid in class and he doesn't think he knows anything. But his mom rose up to the challenge and taught him how to read. So his mom took him to the library, got him some books, and then he started growing interest in reading books. And it wasn't long until his status changed from being the dumbest kid in class to becoming one of the brightest in class. And now he's a surgeon. That's a typical example of how you can grow from, let's say, level 1 to 100 level by just taking learning serious. Some of us are still living a life of small-mindedness. This is what happens. People don't like their life, but they are comfortable with what they have. You have these dreams and this ambition. You see other people achieving their own goals. You see how they are making results and making profits even from what they are doing. But you have this limiting view of yourself that, oh, it is for some certain people, like I said in the beginning, it is because they are into a particular profession. But that's not true. The first step into greatness or into enjoying your authentic life is to first acknowledge that you've got it, that you've been qualified. And I'll say this, the Bible says that we have been qualified. So God called us and then he qualified us. When God called Moses, God knew that he was not eloquent in speech, but God called him because you have to believe that God has chosen you to do that thing that is in your mind. God has put that idea in your mind. Shut that noise away from your head and say, I'm going to do it. I've set my mind to do it and I'll do it. Get exposed. You need to mingle with some other people. You need to stop self-sabotaging yourself. Other people are saying you are good at these things. Even if they don't say it, you know you are good at these things. Why are you letting your own self to be the limiting factor? And I'm not saying you have to be the renowned surgeon like Ben Carson. I'm saying that really living your authentic life, being happy with yourself, living a purposeful life and being famous are two different things. Some people are not famous, but they are living their most authentic life. They're living in purpose. Some people are, famous, but they're not living in purpose. They're not even happy with themselves. You've got the Spirit of God inside of you and you can actually do this. And the last thing that I have learned from this book is that don't take yourself too serious. And what I mean is that life will always happen. You will make mistakes at some point in your life. You'll be stressed. Sometimes you'll be demotivated. Don't take what happens to your life as the beginning and the end. So if you fail one time, then that means you are a failure. No, do not term yourself as what you are not because you are going through a difficult situation. But I would like to ask you a question. question. If you knew that your life was more than this, what would you do differently? And I leave you with those questions. And I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.